Good evening, everybody. It is a very wet and miserable day today, and it is perfect weather for an autumnal Monday. How is everyone doing? I hope you can hear me okay and that the quality is good from an audio standpoint. I think I've sorted out the issues I was having with my microphone before, but let me know, is it this microphone that's working? Tap, 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 tap. Or is it the one on my laptop? I think it should be this one. You should be able to tell by the quality. A little bit echoey sometimes when it picks up the wrong microphone. So fingers crossed, we're all set up all right here. So the IAS event is now next week. For those of you new to the channel or have no idea what I'm talking about, the IAS event is the International Association of Scientologists. It's the official membership body of the Church of Scientology. They have an annual gathering every year. So this is the official gathering of the membership group that is the IAS. They host it at Scientology's UK headquarters at St. Hill down in East Grinstead. We're organising a protest. I've been talking a lot about it recently and all the shenanigans that's been going on down there. And today, I'm going to bring you some news that was sent to me from an insider who is somebody who's currently under the radar in Scientology, who gave me some information that really shows just how small Scientology is these days. Now, Scientology have an events calendar every year. They hold lots of events. They have the Maiden Voyage. They have the L. Ron Hubbard birthday event in March. They have the New Year event at the end of the year. Those are usually held. Maiden Voyage is on the Freewind, Scientology's cruise ship. The New Year and the LRH birthday events are held at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles and at the Ruth Eckert Hall in Clearwater. The IAS event is the only major international event that Scientology holds in Europe. And it is indeed publicized, at least by Scientology, as their biggest gathering. In every press statement they ever release about this event, they refer to it as the greatest gathering of Scientologists. They refer to it as the largest event in the calendar. I don't know if the numbers actually add up for it to be really the biggest one, but it is definitely a huge event. It's the biggest in Europe. It's also the biggest fundraising event for the Church of Scientology. This is where members of the IAS can advance their level to the next tier, and they get big trophies and certificates and things for donating vast sums of cash. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this, Scientology have a tiered donation system where if you donate $50,000, you get called a patron, you get a certificate and a trophy, and then in increments after that, you get new tiers. It's over your lifetime, it's not annually. So if you've donated $1 million over your life, you're called, I believe it's Gold Meritorious. And the biggest donor, I believe, has donated $300 million, if I'm not corrected. I think that's the amount that the Duggans have parted with over their lifetime. So this is where you get your certificate, your trophy. If you donate over $1 million, you get a photo with the leader of Scientology, David Miscavige. It's where the money is made for Scientology's war chest, that is the IAS. And this event is taking place next week. So there's a lot of pressure on Scientology to make sure people attend to this thing. And my insider has given me some information that reveals just how depressing things really are. But before we get into it, let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We have a witness here. Hey, Alex, it's Whitney coming in from Southern California, YRB from California, Bok Buddy, Minnesota, Danielle Chamberlain in the house. Good to see you, Danielle. Petrie Nar from Reading, UK. Well, Petrie Nar, I know Reading is a little bit far away, but it would be great to have you at the IS protest next week. If you could possibly make it to East Grinstead, shoot me an email if you haven't already. I may already be talking to you. I can't remember. I haven't checked my emails today. But anyway, it'd be lovely to have you there if you can make it. Andy Engram is here. Andy, two arms. Hi, gang. Things are getting real now. Absolutely, they are. There's a lot going on from a protest planning perspective that I'll get to at the end of the stream. Becky, Big Brother fan, is here. Eaglewood from West Flanders in Belgium. Kestrel 42, hoping for some fun news. Hi, Osa. Yes, we know Osa watched these videos, so hi, Osa. Hi, Janet. Hi, Graham. Church of Scientology is here, catching our first live in a while. Danielle coming in with a super chat. Thank you, Danielle. That's very kind of you. I really appreciate that, especially so early on in the stream. Irish Martyrs here. Hi, Alex Mods and Chatters. Thank you. All right, let's get into this. If you want to read the story on my blog, Scientology Business, there is a link down below. But let's share my screen and let's go through this thing. Let's move me over here and put this one on like this. And then hopefully, if I get the sizing right, yeah, there we go. Okay, so an inside source has confirmed this year's gathering of the International Association of Scientologists, the IAS, is set to be the smallest yet, with just 2,000 people on the invite list. The IAS event, which is widely publicized as Scientology's greatest gathering, is the only event held in Europe led by reclusive leader David Miscavige and is set to take place later this month. Indeed, next week. It involves a full weekend of activities, including a 3-hour speech expected to take place on Friday the 31st, a global salvage seminar and black tie patrons ball dinner on Saturday the 1st of November, and a charity concert on Sunday the 2nd of November, at which £50,000 cheques will be handed out to the RNLI, Age UK and 2 local sports clubs. Scientologists travel from across the world to attend the extravaganza, including celebrities like Tom Cruise, Jenna Elfman, and millionaire Tom Cummins, with Mid Sussex District Council noting last year that the event causes major disruption to the local highways network. The IES is Scientology's official membership body, with the church claiming to be the fastest growing religion on planet Earth, with millions of followers worldwide. Now, in a 2006 interview with the London Evening Standard, a spokesperson from OSA, Janet, claimed the organisation had 200,000 adherents in the United Kingdom, a number which significantly dropped over the years. 11 years later, in 2017, another spokesperson for Scientology admitted that they had 118,000 followers. So over 11 years, they lost 82,000 followers, according to their own statistics. Although it is understood that these numbers will be inflated. Scientology like to inflate their numbers, and they never give a true representation of exactly how many people they have following their religion, but they do claim to be the fastest growing religion on planet Earth. Nonetheless, Scientology has claimed that up to 10,000 people attend the IES event at St Hill, their UK headquarters, although the 45,000 square foot temporary marquee used to host the gathering has a legal capacity of around 3,500. Now, an inside source has told Scientology Business this year's target for number of confirms is just 2,000, meaning the attendance figure is expected to be likely going to be less. In a recent planning application submitted by the church for a major redevelopment of the St Hill compound, Scientology's architects state a total of 900 car parking spaces are required in order to host the event, with an average of 2 passengers per car. That makes 1,800 people. Coaches are also provided for attendees visiting from orgs in Europe. However, these often arrive half empty and cannot account for more than a couple of hundred additional attendees. Now, on that note, at this event, we see these coaches pulling in. I remember when I was on staff at London Org, for example. We used to put 2 or 3 coaches on. This is for Scientologists who are at their local orgs in whatever city it is in Europe, and they jump on the coach and they get driven to St Hill. And there were so many people, we needed 2 or 3 coaches. Last year, and I'm pretty sure the year before, London only had 1 coach, and even that wasn't completely filled up. Now, a coach can usually carry 48 or 50 people, something in that region, certainly less than 60. So if you're expecting every org in Europe to put on a coach to make up the additional 1,000 people, that's going to be a lot of coaches, and it's certainly not that number. There's maybe 1 coach from each org. So there'll be one from the Copenhagen, Denmark org. There's one from Paris. There's one from the German orgs, like Munich, I think, does one. But nonetheless, even if you add all of the orgs up in Europe and fill the coach up entirely, it's still not 1,000 people. It's only a couple of hundred. Meanwhile, multimillionaire Scientologist and mega donor Tom Cummins yesterday released a short video, which we'll get to shortly, which asked parishioners to attend this year's gala, which he claims, and in the video, he claims that the event draws in 4,000 or 5,000 people. So the numbers just aren't adding up here. The legal capacity of the tent, based on its size and fire regulations and so on, is about 3,500, give or take. So they can't fit more than that into the big marquee. Yes, they can probably put another 500 or 600, maybe 700 in the Great Hall and do a live stream of the event into that facility. But nonetheless, we're talking a maximum of like 4,000-ish people legally can be there. Scientology's press releases claim in the past they've said 8,000 or 9,000 people. They've said 10,000 people. So they always inflate their figures. Their premises license allows them to host events of up to, I think it's 6,000 or it might be 7,000 people. They're legally not allowed to have that any more than that on their property at any one time without getting special licenses. But nonetheless, Tom Cummins this year has told us that there's going to be 4,000 or 5,000 people there. Okay, cool. That's at the upper limit of their legal threshold. But we know that number is going to be inflated, especially considering that this insider has let me know that they are trying to get 2,000 confirms. Now, what exactly does a confirm mean? So in Scientology, they have what's called regging, which is sales. So you might get a phone call once a week or every couple of days saying, hey, can you donate some money for the IAS, or can you pay for your next course or your next session of auditing or your whatever it may be? You get regged all the time. And another thing happens around these events, which is called call-in. I remember doing this as a staff member at the Church of Scientology in London, leading up to these big international events. We basically get a list together of all of the people who have ever done courses or had interactions with the org, and we divide it up between every single staff member at the org, and we basically get this list and start phoning every single one of them until we get through. And then we ask, are you coming to the IES event? That's called a confirm. We want to confirm that you've said you're coming. Obviously, the actual number of people that show up is usually less because a lot of people say yes, they're coming and then don't. It's a common tactic among Scientologists to just say yes, you're coming so that you stop getting the harassing phone calls, and then obviously don't go to the event if you don't want to. But nonetheless, the total target for number of confirms for this year's event is 2,000, which means that's the maximum they're hoping to get there. You would think if they're trying to get 4,000 or 5,000 people there, you would want to get 6,000 or 7,000 confirms, so you have a decent dropout rate of people who don't show up. But nonetheless, if they're only targeting 2,000, that means the attendance is going to be much less, more like maybe 12, 13, 1,400, I would guess, which would make it the smallest IES event in its history, as far as I'm aware. They have never changed the size of the tent that they host this event in, so it is going to look rather empty in the photographs based on this. Of course, it is entirely possible they reach the 2,000 target and get more people after that, but if they're only aiming for 2,000, for me, that's an indicator of just how much Scientology has shrunk over the years. They will struggle to get that tent filled up this year, and it will be a sorry sight for any Scientologist attending this event. I think this is quite significant news because it's the first time it's ever been leaked to me prior to the event how many people they're trying to get there. I have been given in the past a number of people that actually showed up and lots of information like that, but this is the first time we've actually figured out and been told this is how many we're trying to get. And that number is much smaller than I anticipated it to be. So this, for me, is a signifier of Scientology's slow heat death, despite the fact that they will claim to be the fastest growing religion on planet Earth, and despite the fact the press release nonetheless after the event will almost undoubtedly claim way more than that attended, because it is promoted as the greatest gathering of Scientologists. So how embarrassing if you spent the last month promoting this event as the greatest gathering and the turnout is actually smaller than the LRH birthday event or the New Year's event in the US. And this is just causing desperation. And you can tell that by this video that Tom Cummins has released, which I'm going to play for you shortly. But let's look at some of the comments before we get into that. Church of Scientology says this year's attendance will be so low, Dave is considering awarding status levels for just showing up. Looks like the only thing expanding this year is the number of empty seats. Exactly. And look, I'm always of the opinion that Scientology should just be honest, right? If they came out and said, you know what, we've taken a hit, our membership is less than it normally is, and we need to get back on the bandwagon and really try and get Scientology expanding again, I think it would have a lot more respect among the general public and among its parishioners, because Scientologists think that it's just their org that is empty. They don't realize that all of the other orgs are also equally as empty. So I think it would be better for them to be honest and just say, look, we've shrunk, but we need to, carry on and do what we can to expand again. But of course, David Miscavige will never do that. Becky Big Brother fan saying, thank you so much to the kind and information under the radar individual for sharing. Yes, 100%. Thank you to this person who will remain nameless. Mary Kay London is saying, how can anyone listen to David Miscavige for 3 hours? I know, it's like the worst part. I used to look forward to these events. Can you even imagine? It's mad how things have changed. Cara, Church of Scientology, does the participation award also count for protesters that show up? I want to fancy. Yeah, look, this is the funny thing, is their numbers, right? I do wonder if they're counting the body thetans or protesters or what, because I've been there for the last, this will be the 3rd year now that I've been outside. And I can assure you, we can, keep an eye on how many people are in these coaches and how many cars show up. Scientology admit in their own documents that they only need 900 cars for 1,800 people. So, it's just clear as day. It's never as big as they say it is. Bot Buddy asks, how low do the attendance numbers get before Davey pays people to pretend to be Scientologists? Yeah, that is something they've done in the past. And I do wonder if, with all this pressure around this illegal structure that the event is taking place in, whether they're going to move this to a different location next year. They could hire a venue nearby, which has a smaller capacity, so it will feel busier. Of course, Miscavige will use that as an opportunity to say how Scientology is expanding so much, we've outgrown the tent, but actually they've booked a smaller venue. I think that is what may end up happening. Who knows? Ashtung Bitter is here saying, yeah, caught alive from South Africa. Thank you so much. There are a couple more comments that I'll get to in a little bit, but let's play first off this video from Tom Cummins. Let me get it up here. So Tom Cummins is a mega donor. He's a multi-millionaire. He's donated lots of money to the Church of Scientology. It's not often you see mega donors and celebrities promoting this event prior to it happening, which is why it's an indicator that perhaps things are a little bit more desperate than they're letting on. Because for them to ask a mega donor to send out a message to parishioners saying, please come, they're really clasping at straws here, in my opinion. But let's take a look.
Hey guys, Tom Cummins here. And as we know, in 2 weeks, we have the big IAS extravaganza, the big event here in St. Hill, man. And it's incredible. And
I'm just going to pause it there already, because as an ex-Scientologist, this is funny. This guy is meant to be an OT, an operating thetan, right? Somebody who is cause over matter, energy, space, and time. This person is meant to be so with it in present time and have no what we used to call comm lag, i.e. if someone speaks to you, you don't have to think and process information in your head. You just come out because you have intention. That's what they tell you being OT is all about. And this guy's stumbling all over his words here. He's trying to, figure out what he's going to say, what to call the event. He thinks it's good, is it an event? Is it an extravaganza? Comlag, flunk, Tom, flunk. That's just a little funny in-joke for the ex-Scientologists out there.
All right, there's like 2 people I want to talk to, those who've not been before. I can't begin to tell you the incredibleness of this, right? It is, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. Like if you live in Los Angeles, you live in Sydney, you live in down the southern parts of South America, South Africa, I don't care. It's worth it. It's worth it. You come together with 4,000 or 5,000 of your most incredible, dedicated, on purpose individuals around the world.
See, I was hoping there he was going to say 4 or 5,000 incredible, on purpose protesters that you've ever met. But unfortunately, he didn't use the opportunity to promote the protest. But there it is. The number 4 or 5,000 is what he's been told. That's obviously going to be inflated. In fact, it's double what St. Hill's actual target is. But he didn't mention the protest, which is a shame. I was hoping he would, because we will be there outside St. Hill.
In one spot. It is amazing to be there. Plus, you're doing it with COB. You're getting the updates. You're getting all the data. You're getting to find out these incredible people.
Again, flunk, man, for your comlag, right? He's stumbling over his words. In Scientology, we used to say that this means he's got a misunderstood word, because if you really understand the meaning of every word that you're saying, you're not going to stumble over your words. And if you do stumble, that's a sign you've got a word there that you don't quite understand. Obviously, that's all rubbish. But this is not how an OT should be speaking, based on the promise of what an OT is.
Done incredible things around the world. It is like a night of magic, okay? And then you have the big ball the next day, and then it's like all the things in between that you go and do. It's nothing short of incredible, nothing short. And it is a pain sometimes to do something like that, but this is your religion. This is your purpose, to see this, to be, what's going on with it, what's your part in it, in other words, it's part of it. And you need to share it with yourself and everybody else in your family. I just can never say enough about it. And I'll tell you, so please, make it go right. I got it, I get it, on all the other logistics and everything like that, acknowledged. But you're worth it, the church is worth it, everything else is worth it. All right?
So he's pleading. He's going, please make it go right. Please come, right? Why is he so desperate? If this is going to be the greatest gathering of the fastest growing religion on planet Earth, he shouldn't have to ask people to show up. People should be queuing outside the door, and capacity should be an issue, right? You shouldn't have to ask people to come. People should be calling you up and saying, how do I come, right? This is just hilarious because it shows the desperation. I think it's also interesting to just analyze here the way he's handling what we used to call objections in Scientology. When we'd call people up and say, hey, can you come to the IAS event? Whatever excuse they give as to why they can't come, you're trained to try and handle that objection and come up with a reason why that's not an answer and how we can turn that no into a yes. So if someone says, oh, I don't have the money to pay for the travel down there, well, that's okay, because we are putting coaches on, so you can jump on the coach and we'll take you down there. Oh, I've got childcare to worry about. Don't worry, we're providing childcare at St. Hill. So handling objections is basically manipulating you into having no other reason to say no. I just don't want to come. So he's basically saying here, I get logistics are a problem, acknowledged, but basically, fuck you, I don't care, you need to be there. It's obnoxious and really arrogant, actually. Like, what if somebody just doesn't want to go? Or what if somebody has actual other commitments that are more important? Don't just say acknowledged, you've got to make it go right. Maybe someone's family member has just passed away or something and they've got other things to worry about. It's just obnoxious, really. So that was his message to people who haven't been before and want to come. Now he's going to send a message directly to the people who have been before.
All right. And those of you who've been here before, you know what the hell I'm talking about. You've been here. You've seen just how amazing it is. How wow, having this the biggest gathering of our religion ever in the world once a year. And you need to be part of it. You know it, you've been here, you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Notice how his tone changed and he's become a lot more aggressive. He's like, you've been here, you know what it is, so you need to come, like you should know better. It's like a dad telling off his kids, and that just shows the aggression with which Scientologists speak to each other when it comes to confirming for events and donating money. The tact is changed. It becomes more, you are expected to show up, so don't give me all of that nonsense. You're going to be there. It's gross, really.
Okay, guys, look, I will see you here in St. Hill. Let's raise some hell and have some fun. And, another thing is, like, my wife and I came up here. I had to come up early for work, and we went up to London. My God, what a town, what a city, wow. I've been here a few times. Man, I don't know. We just hit it just right. And there's a lot of things to do outside of St. Hill in addition
to do. There's a lot of things to do.
What we're going to do for our religion. And it's just incredible, the countryside. It's unbelievable. Okay, man, look, that's it. Thank you for listening. Ciao.
Favorite part of the whole video. Where is it? I gotta watch that again.
Okay, man, look, that's it. Thank you for listening. Ciao. Countryside. It's
Let's watch that again.
Countryside. It's a
Sorry, I don't know why I find that so amusing. That's what this event is. I would describe it in Tom Cummins' own words. Oh, so anyway, look, he is telling you to please come. And I think it just shows how desperate they are. Let's look at some of these comments that have been going on throughout the video. Catherine Olsen's in the house saying, pip, pip, cheerio. Thank you so much for joining, Catherine. Danielle Chamberlain says, comment, I remember the cringy video London Org made showing them running towards the IAS event. Oh, yeah. And there's been a couple of those that have been released actually this year. I'm going to share some of them at some point soon. Catherine saying, I can't stand Tom Cummins. He's so full of himself. Haggis Basher saying his curtains are horrid. Haha. Yeah, he's obviously at St. Hill. I don't actually recognize the background of that video as to where exactly he is. It might not be at St. Hill itself, but it's definitely in East Grinstead kind of area. He's staying at some fancy hotel, or it might be in the Manor or something. But it's not actually his house by the sounds of things, because he says he's at St. Hill. Catherine says, this guy has given millions to Scientology and he's really far up Miscavige's ass. Yeah. Exactly. So, someone's told him you need to record a video and he's gone, yeah, okay, great. And stumbled his way through it and not realized that he has to do the video because they're struggling to get their numbers up, which means Scientology is not expanding, which means he's been lied to by Miscavige, who says that it's the fastest growing religion on planet Earth. It's just the cogs aren't turning in this guy's head. Bok Buddy, begging and pleading does not come across as command intention. Precisely. Danielle coming in here with the I might have to clip that and play it over a speaker at the event. How funny would that be? So that's the update on the size of Scientology, because a question I get asked a lot is, how big is Scientology really? And I think this is evidence enough that Scientology really is shrinking, because they're struggling to get people to this event. Now, talking of related matters, the Jive Aces, who are a jive, jazz, swing, blues type band here in the UK, they won, or I think they were runners-up in The Voice or Britain's Got Talent or something like that, a TV show a few years back. They're famous for their yellow suits and playing jazz and jumping around the stage. They're all not just Scientologists, but they're members of the Sea Organization. They've all signed 1 billion-year contracts to dedicate their lives to not just being Scientologists, but working for the church 7 days a week with no time off. They are paid £50 a week for the privilege. They're provided communal birthing and food in return for their work spreading the message of Scientology through their gigs and their music. The Jive Aces are, for all intents and purposes, modern slaves. They are being held by Scientology. Whether they want to leave or not is another matter, but if they did decide they wanted to leave, they wouldn't be able to. They are victims in this, but they are always, as Sea Org members, expected to show up at the IES event every single year. And it's been very interesting to keep an eye on their plans, because they have a tour going on at the moment. They're going to all these different clubs and venues around the UK, playing music to paying audiences. Of course, they don't get that money. It goes straight towards the church. They just get paid £50 a week. But they had a gig booked for the 31st of October, next Friday, which is when the IES event is. So it was going to be really interesting to see what would happen there. And because they're Sea Org members, of course, they've been been forced to cancel the gig. This is the Royal British Legion Hailing Island Social Club on Facebook on the 13th of October, the day before the date of the event was announced. It says, "It is with regret that due to circumstances beyond our control, the Jive Aces have had to cancel on 31st of October. They will return in 2026 and tickets may either be held or over or refunded. Please contact staff for more information." And here indeed is the picture, the poster for the rescheduled date. So I just think it's interesting here that they have just said they've got a prior booking that's moved, and due to unforeseen circumstances, we've had to cancel. They haven't been honest and said we've got to cancel because we've been told we have to show up to the IAS event and therefore we can't be performing at this gig. So they're not being honest about it, but I just wanted to bring that bit of news. I thought you'd find it interesting. How would you feel if you'd paid a ticket to go and see these guys and then they cancel just a couple of weeks beforehand because they have to go to this big gathering to hear David Miscavige speak for 3 hours instead of performing to you that you've paid money to see? I personally would be a little bit annoyed, but I wanted to just give you that information. And next up on the list is an update on this year's protest. So we gather outside the gates of St. Hill in protest. We carry a message of kindness and compassion. We carry signs saying things like, "When was the last time you saw your family? They love you and so do we." We offer advice and guidance to anybody who wants it. Anybody that wants to leave can contact the Aftermath Foundation. We give out cards and have their phone number on a banner. It's a very peaceful protest, and despite Scientology's best efforts over the last year to get us banned, we will be back this year. Indeed, next Friday, Saturday and Sunday we'll be outside St. Hill. And as you can imagine, now that we've got the date, the planning has become pretty much all-consuming over the last week, if I'm honest. There's been a lot of liaison and back and forth with the council, with highways, with the police, and so on. And I am pleased to announce that we now have permission from the required authorities for the march and the protest. Now, in the UK, anybody can protest in a static protest demonstration anywhere on public land at any time. You don't need permission. But if your protest includes a march, you're moving from one place to another, you do need to get permission for that. And we have now secured the permissions for this year's march. We will be meeting in East Grinstead Town Centre, marching through the High Street, then walking along Turners Hill Road before meeting the police, who are giving us a rolling roadblock down St. Hill Road so we can march in the road, and then we will remain outside the gates of St. Hill in a static protest, just as we did last year and the year before. But it's all looking very promising, and we have now got the permission to do what we normally do. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to everybody who so far has donated to support the protest effort. We're going to get some new signs this year. We're hoping to get a bagpiper, cones and other things like that. It does cost money to put this thing on, so your help and assistance is greatly appreciated. So thank you everybody who has donated. If you want to support, you can do so using PayPal, buy me a coffee, all that sort of stuff. Links are down below. It does really help with organizing this thing. So that's all happening next week. And to celebrate, we also have some merch on my merch store. Now, this is a top that if you are coming to the event next week, you can order it now, and I think it should arrive in time on apostatealex.com. Our motto this year is "We Come Back." So we've got these t-shirts that say "We Come Back," and they are great t-shirts. They're good, they're nice quality, and I don't really make much money from it, but I wanted to provide that as something who for people to buy if they want to wear some merch at home, whether or not they're coming, and the any profit that is made goes straight towards the protest. I think I get like $5 or $8 for each t-shirt or something, but please go and check them out if you want to. It is quite fun to wear some merch like that, and remind Scientology that despite their efforts, we come back. And finally, to end things off with the last announcement before we do some questions, is tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. UK time. Yes, it's going to be an early start for me. I will be on the glorious Tori Magoo's channel. Tori is a friend of mine. She is lovely. I met with her in LA earlier this year. She has a channel talking about her experience in Scientology, interviewing other people, protesting in LA, and she's invited me on to talk about the IAS protest and what's been going on over the last few months. That will be live tomorrow, 7 a.m. UK time, which is 11 p.m. LA time. So if you want to tune into that, it'd be great to see some of you in the live chat. If not, catch it on the replay because I know it's late for the US guys and early for the UK guys. So hopefully you can tune into that. Let's look at the last couple of comments here before we wrap up. YRB says California's Scientology PR media stunt this weekend was a dud. They couldn't even muster enough Scientologists to fill a crowd for the extras needed in filming. Yeah, this is the case in Scientology. I remember being on staff at London Org. Miss Gavage had ordered a shoot team to come to London to film me as a bookseller because I was doing so well and we had a great team and we were getting lots of books sold every week. Rachel Hastings, who used to be a part of Scientology Media Productions, actually, we talked about this on my channel previously because she was the one that was sent over from LA to film. And we got there and, well, they got there. We were at Tottenham Court Road and, like, you know, there was nobody there. We'll get like 2 or 3 people in and sell one of them a book or whatever. Like, it's not like the place was flooded with people. But we had to make it look busy because at the international event, we needed to show that London is booming and filled with people all the time. So what I did is went to a park just around the corner from Tottenham Court Road and asked people who were on their lunch break, you know, from businesses and stuff in the area, hey, we're shooting a film. Would you mind coming and, you know, just sitting in the film for a minute? You know, just sit down. You don't need to do anything. Just we need to make the place look busy. So we did. We filled the place up. We sat them down, got the shot, and the video made it look like the place was booming. But it was all staged. All of those people were extras that we got from around the corner. They weren't genuinely Scientologists. They weren't people that bought the book. We just needed to make it look busy. And this is what the IES event is all about. It's selling people a lie because they see all of these videos of all of these stats and these booming orgs and all of this, but in actual fact, they are all empty most of the time and the videos are staged. So it really doesn't surprise me that they're struggling in California as well. They're struggling everywhere. Scientology is shrinking at a rate of knots. Linda P. Golan asking, what time is the vlog with Tori? 7 a.m. tomorrow UK time. Cara here. Well, I'm pretty sure I have one of those from Infiltrating Brighton Org with the SP chef. I wanted a shiny new toy surprise. Serious question. Will the bagpiper play Power Thetans or We Stand Tall? Well, you will have to wait and see on that one. We do have some plans for this year's IAS protest, and maybe that's on the list. Maybe it isn't. You have to tune into the live stream and see, or join us in person and you're going to experience it for yourself. So guys, that's the update from me. Protest planning is continuing. We have our permit, all great stuff. And I will continue bringing you live updates over the next few days as things change and progress. I do have a site visit, for example, in the coming days. I have to go down to East Grinstead to meet with local officials and explain what our plans for the protest are and so on and so forth, which is why things like donations through Buy Me a Coffee are really helpful because it can go towards covering travel costs and that sort of stuff. But as I always say, the best, most important thing you can do to support this cause from my channel's perspective is to share, to like, to subscribe, to comment. I know it sounds boring and everyone always says it, but it is true. The more you engage with the video, the more YouTube decides to push it out to more people and the more people then are aware of it. So the best way of supporting my channel is by doing those things, liking, subscribing, commenting. Once the live stream finishes, down below underneath the video, refresh the page and leave a comment under there. It doesn't really matter what it says, but it does help push things out so that more people are aware that this is going on, because that's what we need. Public awareness. So thank you so much for everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.